Hey there, Smite fans, and welcome to another SPL prediction video. This week we're going to be covering Week 3 of the fall split of the SPL. I'm Gormizer, and as always, we will be starting in North America here. And the first matchup on Thursday that we have that day is going to be Envy versus Eager. And this one's going to be a little bit of a doozy. So Envy kind of surprising us last week, able to come out and take a game off of Denial. It was only one, but Denial having shown themselves to really be at the top of NA right now, kind of vying for that first place spot. Envy being able to take a game was kind of a big deal. That being said, Eager is a kind of whole different kind, a different kind of beast. Eager is very strong. Eager is very talented. That being said, Envy showing the amount of life they had, I don't want to underestimate them here, and I feel like Eager will, and that's kind of the problem that I feel like we're seeing. A lot of these teams tend to get away with what they do just because they get underestimated, and Envy, probably the most underestimated of all. They've been playing not that great as the first 2 weeks of the split have been. However, I think because the game they were able to take off of Denial, if they can do that again, they'll be able to take a game off of Eager, and I think that will bring it into a 1-1. Honestly, I want to give that to them because I feel like Envy will be able to cause the upset. More than likely, Eager will be able to 2-0, but I have a hunch that Envy probably going to bring an upset out, and honestly, for the first game of the week, that'll be very interesting to watch. For the next game, we have Randozos versus Team Allegiance, and Allegiance has been pretty much on the same line as Envy, except they have skyrocketed much harder. Envy, while they were kind of able to take a game off of Denial last week, Allegiance was able to 2-0 Enemy. While Enemy had a sub, that's still a big deal. Allegiance played very, very great last week. They played lights out, honestly, to me. And because of that, I'm going to have to give this one straight to Allegiance. Randozos as well, I mean, they might be able to put up a good fight, just not enough coming out of them, really. And their roster just not strong enough, even though they've changed a little bit, to really take a game off of here. I feel like Allegiance is actually going to have a relatively easy time. While Denial has been proving themselves to be pretty much one of the top teams in North America, Luminosity is on the rise again. Now, for people who are new to the scene, Barracuda and Jeff Hendla are two of the first world champions, as long as you start counting at the 2015. If you go back, you can look and see the Paradigm roster winning the launch tournament, but for all intents and purposes, these two are world champions. And last split, it didn't seem like they were going to be able to find a team that could do the same thing they had, what they had done 2 years ago. But this split, they seem to be very, very hungry. Masked and Xenotronics being a very strong pickup for the team. And because of that, even though Denial has been almost stomping everybody lately, I feel like Luminosity is going to be pretty strong in this match. I feel like they know exactly what they're going to be going up against. And because of that, they're going to be practicing crazy hard. And because of that, I'm going to call this one as a split as well. While Denial has been very, very strong, I feel like Luminosity is going to have what it takes to be able to take them out, at least for one game. Not for both. I think Denial will be able to come crashing back there, and that's why I'm going to have to call this one as a split. For Soar versus Enemy, this one's going to be very interesting because while Enemy hasn't been playing well at all these last couple weeks, they're actually sitting in the 6th place spot in North America. They didn't have Panda Cat. This week, Panda Cat is coming back, and while some people would say, you know, they're only missing one member and the sub is really good himself, how big of a difference does that actually make? Surprisingly enough, it seems like their entire team dynamic rests pretty much on the idea that Pain de Viand is, in fact, the general, and the rest of them all listen to him pretty much at the beck and call. Panda Cat seeming to have a little bit more talent than Fierno, which is why he's main roster here. I feel like this is going to be stronger. Soar has been playing extraordinarily well. They're tied for first place in North America right now. And I feel like this one, ordinarily, if you just look at the scores of the teams right now, it'd be an easy 2-0 for Soar. However, because Panda Cat's coming back, because Enemy's going to be back in their comfort zone, I feel like this one's going to be a split just as well. I just don't see Soar being able to take down this roster of Enemy 2 games in a row, so it's going to have to be a split. Well, the last match on Thursday will be extraordinarily close and really fun to watch. This game, while it might be fun to watch, more than likely not going to be very close. Paradigm right now sitting at first place in EU, something we haven't seen in a while as NRG has been kind of dominating in the last year. but Paradigm finally being able to take that crowned spot up at the top. Fantastic, however, having a little bit of surprises in them, being able to pull out some games that I personally thought they never would have been able to do as well as they have. When it comes to this matchup, though, while Fantastic has been improving, and while their logo is bright and colorful, and their roster is definitely working together, learning everything, and getting to a point where they're finally showing themselves to be a true SPL team, Paradigm has been playing together for years, Paradigm has been playing at a top level for years, and Paradigm has proven themselves to be a much better team overall than Fantastic right now. So with this, I'm gonna have to give it to Paradigm in an easy-ish 2-0. I feel like Fantastic might be able to give them a little bumps for trouble, but nothing so serious that it's going to be a scare or upset. For Cyclone GG versus Sanguine, this one's going to be very interesting. So Sanguine is the old Leftovers roster. They got sponsored last week, which is great for them. Cyclone GG is a kind of mix and match roster here. A lot of names that people will recognize, especially now, because they have been playing well, but they haven't been playing great. The two, pretty much these are the two bottom teams right now in Europe. That being said, I feel like both of them have the ability to climb if they want, and I think that in this matchup it's probably going to be a 1-1 between the two of them. Both of them sitting at about the same level right now. As the split goes on, I feel like they will definitely improve, but as it stands right now, this one's going to be a split between the two of them. They're both going to sit more or less at the bottom of EU for maybe a week or two more as they get the team rosters kind of finalized, get all of the comfort that they need, and move on. This one's also going to be very interesting because Cringe Crew, I swear to God I jinxed myself because of this. I said Cringe Crew in the spring split, they were the first team to take down NRG, and I predicted that they weren't going to be able to do that again because they just hadn't been playing in that zone anymore. So naturally, Cringe Crew comes in and splits with NRG, and proves not only me wrong, but a lot of people lost FP on that because NRG is one of the top teams. That being said, this game they're not going to be fighting them. They're going to be fighting Dignitas, who is a different kind of beast here. Dignitas is definitely improved from what we saw last split. They have a slightly different roster. They've shaken things up. Ducky proving himself to be a very strong solo laner. I feel like this one's going to be a close game. So Cringe Crew has the potential to 2-0. Dignitas has the potential to 2-0. Both of these teams are very strong. Both of these teams are on a new level, honestly, than what we saw last year, or last split. And, I mean, as it stands, because of that, this matchup, I'm going to call it as a split between the two. It could go either way. And that's why I think it's going to be a split. I think both teams are going to be able to take one. Whoever wins the first game is probably going to lose the second game, and both of them being pretty much on the same level, going to cause this one to be a split. This one's going to be very interesting as well because Hungry for More has been playing very, very well. They have been 2-0'd this split, but they've also 2-0'd 3 times in a row. So they haven't been able to split with anybody, which is the reason that they are 1 point behind Paradigm right now. And NRG is surprisingly sitting in the 3rd place spot right now, not able to find anything, almost tied for these 1st and 2nd place spots in EU. But as it stands, these two teams have a history together. These two teams, while Hungry for More has been improving, I just don't see it going past NRG here. I feel like NRG has not... They earned this sponsorship, right? There's a reason that they are pretty much regarded as the best team in the world right now, and it's because every single time they've had to defend that title, they've been able to do it. This split, they've lost a few games already, and that's kind of surprising. It's pretty exciting, personally, because I think that means that Worlds is going to be a little bit more closer. It's not just NRG winning all of the games. However, I don't think that Hunger for More is going to be one of those teams. Cringe Crew was able to surprise them with a game, but I feel like NRG took that to heart, kind of the way they did last split, and they're not going to let that kind of thing happen again. And Hunger for More, while they are, in fact, hungry, while they are working harder, I just don't see this going in favor for them. I'm going to have to give it as a 2-0 to NRG. Kind of continuing the trend, NRG versus Fantastic. Fantastic, like I said earlier, they're on the rise. They're definitely a better team than we saw out of them last split. Although I guess we didn't see this entire roster last split, but definitely a better team. Definitely working pretty hard to get into the top area of EU. But again, NRG being the beast that they are, I feel they won't drop a game here. I know I said that last week with Cringe Crew, but Cringe Crew has been the team with probably the most surprises come out of them. So I'm not too upset about that one. That being said, Fantastic hasn't proven themselves to be on that level. Because of that, NRG going to take that in a 2-0. For Cyclone GG versus Cringe Crew, this one's probably going to be very interesting as well. Cyclone is currently at the bottom of EU, tied with Sanguine. And, I mean, honestly, as it stands, Cringe Crew should have a relatively easy time with this, but Cyclone played pretty damn well last week. They proved themselves to be definitely higher than they are in the standings, and I feel like they're going to be able to work their way up here. Cringe Crew is a strong team. Cringe Crew is definitely going to have a pretty good time in this matchup, but I don't think they're going to have as easy a time as Cyclone would like it. They're going to have an easy enough time, though, to get a 2-0. It's just going to be a rough 2-0. It's going to be some close games, but I feel like they're going to be the ones who can finalize it out. Sanguine versus Hungry for More. There was a point where I feel like these rosters were on par with each other. They were in the same zone, in the same area. But now I feel more like Hungry for More has just lifted themselves up. Sanguine, I'm hoping to see an upset out of them. That being said, Hungry for More has just been practicing very hard. Hungry for More has been working their asses off. This split hasn't gone as well for them as it could, but it definitely hasn't been going bad for them either, and because of that, I think they're going to be able to take this in an easy 2-0. Sanguine just still needs a little bit of work to get onto a level where they can finally compete. This game's going to be kind of like the last matchup, but kind of, again, bumped up. Team Dignitas is very good, but Team Dignitas is not quite on the same level as Paradigm. Paradigm, again, sitting at the #1 spot in EU right now, having lost one game the entire time. It's just not looking like Dignitas is going to be able to take this. They have been able to get some surprises, but I don't think this is going to be a surprise they can pull out. Paradigm has just been a very strong team, pretty much consistently now, and Dignitas having some good games, having some bad games. They're definitely playing, again, better than they did last split, but not good enough to take down the Paradigm Kings here, who are going to take this in a 2-0. Moving back into North America for Sunday, Envy versus Enemy at the very beginning. Again, while I said Enemy did not have Panda Cat last week, the last 2 weeks actually, and Envy, while they were able to show a little bit of fangs, they were showing that they had some teeth, had a bite to back themselves up. I feel like Enemy back in their comfort roster, back with the original members here, is not going to have that much trouble, and I think this is going to be kind of an embarrassing 2-0 for Envy, unless they can kind of show an upset. They were able to take a game off denial. If they can come back with that kind of gusto, they might be able to do something here, but as it stands right now, I just feel like Enemy is going to be able to take this in a relatively easy 2-0. Much to the same standards, though on a little bit of a lower level, Luminosity kind of showing themselves to be a top North American team right now, and Randozzo's not so much. This one's going to be a relatively easy 2-0 for the guys in blue. On the right-hand side here, Luminosity not going to have too much trouble with the Randozzos. Any other week, I would have said, Soar versus Allegiance means Soar's going to win. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. No doubts about it, nothing wrong with that. This roster of Allegiance has not only been working harder, but they have been showing themselves to be worth it. Again, while Enemy did have a sub, they still got 2-0'd by Allegiance. And that just kind of shows the abilities this team has. They're definitely working harder. They're working to get better. I've noticed, you don't see them stream as much to the individuals, and for me, that just means they're probably scrimming a lot more. And knowing that they're working as hard as they can to become a top team, trying to get away from the 6th place spot that they were in last split, and the way Soar's been playing, I feel like this one's going to be close. And because of that, I don't think Soar's actually going to be able to win 2 games. I think that Allegiance is strong enough to take one. It could very much lean in favor of Soar. And honestly, Allegiance may come back with a surprise and get a 2-0 here. But I feel like the most likely outcome here is going to be the 1-1 split between the two teams. While Soar is really good, and more than likely, Soar is going to be able to take this and prove me wrong, but I feel like Allegiance, it's another hunch. Soar and all numbers, logistics, seems like they should trash Allegiance here. But with the way Allegiance has been improving, the way that I've seen them play in the last 4 sets, that to me is showing their improvement. That to me is showing that they're going to have this potential. And because of that, not looking, even just ignoring the numbers and looking at the team play here, I feel like Allegiance is going to be able to rise up and at least take one of these. They could surprise us with 2. I just don't see that one being as likely. Soar could take 2, but I feel like Allegiance and Soar are going to split. And the last match this week, the last one of Sunday, going to be Denial versus Eager, and this one's going to be where some things are at. So Denial, again, tied for first right now with Soar. And honestly, North America, and this is something I should have said earlier in this video, it's in a jumble right now. Nobody really knows where they're going to be. Every single prediction I have made, some of them have been outright true, and others, there have been some crazy upsets. But they aren't really upsets to me. They're just energizing because it's so great to see how close all of these teams are. You really, at this point, it's difficult to say who's going to win each set, which is wonderful. The top, like all 7 of these teams have been able to fight with each other and show their teeth. The only one not really making an impact right now is Randoza's, and even they've been playing relatively well. Going back to this one, Denial sitting at the top, Eager right now sitting at 4th, but definitely showing their will to live. Going to be pushing a little bit harder. Some of the points they lost were kind of demoralizing when DJ was not able to get into the game. He was disconnected. Something with his ISP went wrong and kind of kicked him out of there, but for this, again, barring any internet issues between the two teams, Denial, Eager, I feel like they're both really strong. Denial showing themselves to be very strong, and in fact, even though they lost a game to Envy, I feel like that's going to kind of invigorate them. An enemy, or Eager here, sitting in a position where they're 2-0-2, they've won 2 sets and lost 2 sets, so that's 4 games on their win, 4 games on their loss roster. And then just looking past the numbers, looking at the teams, Zapman and Vicium are it's going to be kind of like the old Allied versus Zapman matchup, and the Zapman versus Bara. These hunters are just these giant gods going at it, trying to fight, and it's going to be really fun to watch. Shadow Q, an amazing support along with Aurora. Heroind and the Best, they're both different play styles here, and I feel like a lot of it's going to fall onto Homie Efe and DJ Pernicus for the teams. And because of, honestly, just because of the way these teams play, it's a little bit different, and I feel like it's going to be a split. Eager has a little bit more objective control, whereas Denial has a little bit more kill control. They use this kill control to gain objective control, but if Eager can keep themselves composed, I feel like they'll be able to take at least one game. If I feel this going in a 2-0, I honestly think Denial would have the potential to, but I think that Eager is a strong enough team that this is not a position where I can lean. I feel like Eager will fight back, and I feel like Denial are going to lose at least one game here and take this as a split. And with that, we'll be going through the entire week here, starting back in NA on Thursday. Envy versus Eager. Envy kind of showing themselves to be a little bit of a strong team. I feel like they're going to be able to push that through once again and be able to take a game off of Eager. Eager will more than likely be able to 2-0. That being said, I feel like Envy at this point has been underestimated. And I don't really want to underestimate them again. I think they have the potential to do this. And so I'm going to call this one as a split, even though it seems a little bit more likely that Eager will 2-0. Not quite on the same level, Randoza's being where they are. Allegiance, having played phenomenally last week, going to have an easy time with this in a 2-0 against the Randozos. Denial, while they are sitting up at the top, they haven't been quite as good as they could have been last week, and because of that, and because of the way Luminosity has also been playing, I feel like Luminosity is going to be able to take a game. I don't think they're going to be able to take 2, and because of that, it's going to have to be a split between the two teams. The same kind of going for Enemy versus Soar. Enemy now having Panda Cat back on the roster. He's returned this week, and I feel like that's going to give them an advantage, but I feel like the lack of practice for the last few weeks is going to definitely show, which is why I think they aren't going to be able to 2-0. Plus, Soar lately being a much stronger team, it's going to be a 1-1 split. For Fantastic versus Paradigm. Paradigm at the top of EU, Fantastic not quite at the bottom, but low enough that Paradigm not going to have much trouble with that in a 2-0. Sanguine versus Cyclone. Both of these teams have been playing very well lately and honestly picking themselves up as time has gone on. Because of that, I'm going to have to assume that this one will be a 1-1. Both of them have the potential to take 2, but I don't think they're both going to drop 2. I think they're going to be able to take this as a split. The same kind of going for Dignitas and Cringe Crew. Cringe Crew playing very, very well, but Dignitas also being a different beast than we saw last split. These two playing together will more than likely come out as a 1-1 split. While Hungry for More has definitely been on the rise lately, they haven't been on the top as much. They are sitting at number 2 right now. And that being said, NRG seems very hungry. NRG seems upset that they haven't been at the top. And because of that, I think they're going to be cracking down, and this week is going to be the week that they don't have any trouble, and Hungry for More not going to be able to supply any of that. For Fantastic versus NRG, it's going to be, again, another easy 2-0 NRG, just on a completely different level than Fantastic here. For Cringe Crew versus Cyclone GG, again, Cringe Crew on another level. Cyclone may be able to come up with a surprise. They might be able to take one, and I think they're going to make it hard for Cringe Crew, but I think Cringe Crew is going to be able to take both of them. For Hungry for More versus Sanguine, it's going to be a little bit more in the favor of Hungry for More. Sanguine is a strong team, but they need a little bit more work to finalize their rosters. Hungry for More going to be able to take that in a 2-0. And Paradigm and Team Dignitas, much like the last one, Dignitas is a very strong team, but in order to contest Paradigm, they're going to need a little bit more work, and because of that, Paradigm going to take this in a 2-0. For Envious versus Enemy, well, Enemy didn't perform too well these last couple weeks with PandaCat back. I think they're not going to have that much trouble. Envy not going to be able to do anything against them, and because of that, I feel like Enemy's going to take that in a 2-0. Following the same pattern, Luminosity has been proving themselves to be very strong these last couple weeks, and Randozos are not quite on that level yet, so Luminosity going to be taking that in a 2-0. Allegiance versus Soar, because Allegiance has been playing a lot better these last couple weeks, has been improving pretty much every single game. I feel like they're going to be able to take a game. Soar, while they are up at the top, I feel like they're going to drop one, because I think they're going to underestimate them, as well as Allegiance coming back much stronger. And for Denial versus Eager, I feel like this one's going to follow a similar pattern as the last one. Eager going to be coming back a little bit hungrier than they have been in the last few weeks. They are going to come back, and they're going to be able to take one game just kind of as a surprise from Denial. Being said, Denial very strong these last couple weeks, so they do have potential to 2-0, but I think it's going to be a split. So as always, guys, I would like to thank you for watching this prediction video. It is, again, another little bit of a doozy. There's a lot going on in these teams now to make this a little bit more interesting, and it's a really fun split so far. As always, if you aren't interested in watching any of these games on Saturday or Sunday, which, again, would be kind of crazy, even I make sure to watch them while I'm also watching the Challengers Cup on twitch.tv/SmiteGame2. Saturdays, it is Europe. There have been some really, really great games and some really great moments so far. If you pay attention to some of my uploads, you will be seeing highlights, mainly from the North American side, because I do not cast on the EU side. If you watch on Saturday, you will be seeing Souza and Freight Train bringing you the European Challengers Cup. We're in week 3 this week, as well as the same week as the SPL. And Sunday, Tiger and myself, Tiger, who, if anyone has been watching, was in the casting the SCL this week, and will be casting the SCL for the foreseen future, as far as I know. Me and her will be casting on Sunday for North America, starting at about 12:30 there. Actually, speaking of the SCL, after watching a few games today, I've decided to add into my predictions list, so watch out later this week for a console league prediction video, just to kind of maybe help get some more FP there. And honestly, they're really fun games to watch, and I love the Xbox UI. But with that, this has been a long enough outro. I will thank you guys once again for watching. Hopefully these picks are good. Hopefully the games are great. And I will talk to you again next week.